So he posted a link to, it says 50 Cent reportedly developing a Surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary.
A single post changed everything. On March 5th, 2026, 50 Cent uploaded one caption to Instagram. A caption that referenced a documentary called Surviving T.I. and Tiny and pointed directly at 20 sexual assault cases tied to rapper T.I. and his wife Tiny Harris. Within hours, every major hip-hop blog, every entertainment platform, and every corner of social media had locked onto that post. Then, before the day was over, 50 Cent deleted it. But deletion means nothing once the internet has already moved. Screenshots were preserved. Headlines were written. Conversations had already ignited across Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. One post. Gone before midnight. And yet the damage, if damage is what it was, had already been done. The question now hanging over the entire hip-hop world is this: was this a calculated psychological operation, or the opening chapter of something far more serious? So let us break down exactly what happened, step by step, layer by layer. What makes this story matter right now is not just the beef between two rap veterans. What is at stake here is legacy, narrative control, and the power of a threat that does not need to be fulfilled to cause maximum destruction. According to reports, mainstream entertainment media has largely framed this as a simple celebrity feud. But those paying close attention understand that this situation sits at the intersection of unresolved legal allegations, a calculated social media strategy, and a hip-hop power dynamic that has been simmering for nearly 2 decades. Careers are on the line. Reputations are being tested. And the families caught in the middle are the ones absorbing the heaviest blows. This is not a rap beef. This is something far more layered than that. Stick around until the end of this breakdown, because the most shocking part of this entire story is not the deleted post, and it is not the documentary threat. The most shocking part is what reportedly happened behind closed doors between these two men, a private agreement, a public denial, and the moment that allegedly turned professional competition into personal war. There is a piece of information, one conversation that according to reports took place in Los Angeles, that fundamentally reframes everything 50 Cent has done since. If you leave before we get there, you will miss the detail that makes every single move in this story make complete sense. To understand where things stand in 2026, you have to go back almost 20 years. According to reports, the earliest documented friction between 50 Cent and T.I. dates to 2007 and 2008, when T.I. was facing a federal gun charge that carried a potential 10-year sentence. The plea deal he ultimately received, roughly 1 year served, raised eyebrows across the industry. On the 2008 G-Unit track You So Tough, 50 Cent reportedly placed bars that many interpreted as a direct insinuation that T.I. had cooperated with federal authorities to receive that reduced sentence. The snitch narrative, once seeded, never fully disappeared. Through the 2010s, according to observers, the two men maintained a cautious distance, occasionally throwing indirect jabs but never fully committing to open conflict. Both had too much business operating to allow a rap beef to derail their respective empires. T.I. with his acting career, the Trap Music Museum, and reality television, and 50 Cent building the Power franchise into one of the most dominant properties in premium cable history. Then came Verzuz. When Timbaland and Swizz Beatz launched the platform in 2020, T.I. reportedly saw an opening. According to reports, on July 6, 2020, the same day as 50 Cent's birthday, T.I. posted a formal call-out on Instagram demanding a 20-song catalog battle. 50 Cent publicly laughed it off. But according to T's own statements made during a 2026 interview on Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Okosinko, the private reality was entirely different. T.I. alleged that the two men were in Los Angeles together, pitching television projects, when the subject of Verzuz came up organically. According to T.I., 50 Cent privately agreed. The plan, as T.I. described it, was for T.I. to jump out publicly first, and for 50 to follow, building the hype organically from there. When T.I. went public, 50 Cent went completely silent. That silence, according to T.I., was the original wound, and everything that followed was a direct consequence of that perceived betrayal. The first visible signs of tension in early 2026 appeared measured on the surface. T's public comments about the failed Verzuz, according to observers, were pointed but professional. He spoke about the situation in interviews as a matter of respect and accountability rather than animosity. 50 Cent, for his part, appeared largely unbothered, continuing to operate within his media empire and offering no direct public acknowledgement of T's claims. To the casual observer, it looked like a one-sided grievance that would fade quietly. But those watching the subtext closely could already detect the shape of something building. Both men were testing the invisible boundaries of the conflict. How far could the narrative be pushed before the other party was forced to respond in kind? According to reports, The situation shifted noticeably when 50 Cent moved from silence to active engagement on social media. Fans noticed a post in which 50 Cent uploaded an unflattering photograph of Tiny Harris with a caption instructing T.I. to stop mentioning his name. Entertainment blogs, including the Jasmine Brand and Ice Cream Convos, picked up the thread immediately. The framing was deliberate. By bringing Tiny into the visual narrative, 50 Cent had expanded the target from T.I. the rapper to T.I. the husband. Public opinion began forming rapidly. Online discussions suggested that 50 Cent was not simply deflecting but was strategically positioning the entire Harris household as fair game. T's team and social circle took the post as a direct attack on the family unit, regardless of whether any explicit insult had been articulated. The conflict crossed the line from professional to deeply personal when T's sons entered the picture. According to reports, King Harris publicly posted old and unflattering images of 50 Cent that had previously circulated on the internet, while Domani Harris reportedly dropped this material aimed at 50 Cent's alleged personal history. The energy of the entire conflict shifted in that moment. This was no longer two industry veterans exchanging coded jabs. This was a family in active defense mode, and that optic, sons stepping in front of their parents, changed how the public was reading the story. According to sources close to the situation, T.I. himself later expressed that watching his son place 50 Cent's late mother on a t-shirt was the moment he recognized the situation had moved beyond acceptable boundaries. The psychological weight of watching a generational conflict spiral into territory involving deceased parents reportedly hit T.I. harder than any lyrical exchange could have. Then came the nuclear option. On March 5, 2026, 50 Cent posted the caption that stopped the internet. According to reports, the post directly referenced a documentary in development titled Surviving T.I. and Tiny, a title designed as an unmistakable echo of Surviving R. Kelly, the 2019 Lifetime docuseries that helped bring federal charges against R. Kelly by platforming survivor testimonies in a way criminal proceedings had failed to achieve. The strategic implication was immediate and unmistakable. By invoking that title and referencing 20 sexual assault cases in the caption, 50 Cent was not simply throwing a diss. He was reportedly following the same playbook he had used previously with another high-profile subject, going quiet, building pressure, then releasing material that reframes public perception entirely. This was different from everything that had come before it. A deleted Instagram post carrying the weight of a documentary threat is a different category of weapon than a rap lyric or a social media photograph. According to reports, the fallout within the hip-hop community was immediate and divided. On one side, voices argued that 50 Cent was weaponizing unresolved allegations, cases that had been investigated and closed without criminal charges, purely for leverage in a personal beef. On the other side, others pointed out that the allegations themselves had never been resolved in the public consciousness, regardless of what the courts had or had not concluded. Tiny Harris remained largely silent throughout, her vulnerability in the situation apparent to anyone observing closely. According to online discussions, King Harris appeared to shift into a more protective posture following the documentary post, his earlier aggressive social media moves giving way to something quieter and more contained. The image of a family, mother, father, sons, navigating an orchestrated public siege was not lost on those watching. T.I., for his part, continued to drop music, framing every release as evidence that the threat had not broken his stride. According to fan accounts and entertainment blogs, the screenshots of 50 Cent's deleted posts circulated across Twitter and Instagram within minutes of deletion. Real-time archiving by fan communities ensured that the caption was preserved in full. Entertainment outlets ran the story with the screenshots as primary evidence, reinforcing the narrative even in the absence of the original post. Online discussions drew direct and explicit comparisons between this situation and the Diddy case, specifically the way in which a documentary or docuseries can accomplish in the court of public opinion what legal proceedings fail to achieve. The narrative had visibly shifted from a rap beef rooted in a failed Versus agreement to something touching on family, legacy, and the unresolved weight of allegations that had never been officially adjudicated. Public opinion hardened fast. The idea of de-escalation, according to most observers, appeared increasingly unlikely. Analyzing the psychological dynamics at play, it appears that 50 Cent has maintained near-complete control of the story's tempo from the beginning. Every move he has made, the unflattering photograph, the deleted post, the indirect shots in the Power Origins theme song, has generated maximum chaos with minimum personal exposure. T.I., by contrast, appears to be operating from an emotional position, flooding the timeline with music and public statements in a pattern that reads as reactive rather than strategic. According to those studying the conflict, T.I. benefits from the attention insofar as it feeds his final album rollout, but the cost, his family absorbing public scrutiny, appears significant. King Harris's reported moves suggest a young man operating on instinct rather than strategy. And 50 Cent's silence in the wake of T's barrage of responses is itself a weapon. The quieter he stays, the larger the documentary threat looms. The question this leaves for the culture is this: does 50 Cent actually have a documentary in development, or is the threat itself the entire strategy? If the allegations against T.I. were investigated and closed without charges, does platforming them again through a docuseries serve justice or simply serve 50 Cent's narrative agenda? And perhaps most importantly, at what point does T's decision to respond publicly stop defending his family and start amplifying the very story he is trying to contain? Drop your position in the comments right now. Because this story is not over. The next move, whether it is a finished documentary, a legal filing, or a silence that stretches on indefinitely, belongs to whoever understands this truth first. In the era of deleted posts and viral screenshots, the person who controls the story controls the outcome.